Before we get started, first I want to apologize for the audio quality in this recording. There is a follow-up part 2 to this episode. Welcome to the Chronically Will podcast, where we hold real conversations with community that need to be heard. The guest I have, Jerri, is just one of one. Considering it took Jerri and I multiple days to record due to technological issues, today Jerri lives with an A1C below 4.6 and has done so for 7+ years. When I came about the idea for this podcast, I knew that the entire community needed to hear Jerri's triumph. In 1981, the year that President Raegan was shot, the first year HIV/AIDS was identified in the U.S., the legend that is Bob Marley would transition, Prince Charles and Lady Diana were married, and then an unknown singer named Prince opened for Rolling Stones, Muhammad Ali officially put away his gloves, and in Tennessee, a 14-year-old girl named Jerri was not only coming of age, but she too was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Not only has Jerri lived with diabetes, but her mother lived through gestational diabetes with 4 of her 5 pregnancies, and by her mid-30s, she was fully insulin dependent. Early on, Jerri and her mom would even share hospital stays due to their diabetes. Her mom passed from diabetes complications at the young age of 52. 10 years ago, Jerri's sister was also diagnosed with diabetes. Today, Jerri's sister lives with chronic kidney disease and has lost her vision. I hope that in this episode, Jerri has the opportunity to give the community greater insight on how you too can be in control. Thank you, Jerri.
Jerri and I would like to say we've never had any previous conversations, but considering everything that went on with our technology today, we have been having conversations. I even learned how to read lips today thanks to Jerri. Thank you. I appreciate you. So I reached out to Jerri maybe about a month ago and asked her about being on the podcast. So Jerri, I have reached out to many people over the last few months. I briefly remember something you did tell me in the regarding you and diabetes and your management. So I believe that's what it was. If I'm wrong, let me know. But I remember you being like to yourself, like you're like a diabetes guru.
Oh, no, well, I am, because I've been in diabetes for 42 years, but I wouldn't say I'm a guru now, because you say you're good with numbers, so.
I'm real good when it comes to diabetes, numbers, math, science, But I think we all can equally be good. I mean, your best is your best, as long as it works for you, and we can avoid the complications that do exist with diabetes. Even if you have an A1C of 5 or below, even 6 or below for many years, you can still develop complications. We do know that because it's showing itself.
Yeah, it really is. I had a frozen shoulder just recently, and my A1C is 4.6. I just got it back last week, and I'm still having complications.
So tell them about it, because I equally have had 2 frozen shoulders, and they do keep returning. And my A1C has been leveled like between 4.9 to 5.4 over the last like 5 or 6 years. But the frozen shoulders, they keep making these surprise visits back to you.
Yeah, they keep making it. And I had this be my third one. I had one on my left, I had one on my right, then I had one on my left, and that's on my right again. So they keep coming and leaving and coming back, and it's a pain. But
they knock on your door whenever they want to and do whatever they want to.
Yeah, but what I really want to make sure that I don't have anything happen is my kidneys. I just want my kidneys to be fine, my vision to be fine. If I can still see and walk and have all my limbs, my goal is to have all of my limbs when I leave this earth. I want to have everything. What I came in here with is what I want to leave with.
Right. So you said you were diagnosed 42 years ago.
Yes, I was 14 when I was diagnosed.
You said you were 16?
I was 14.
Oh,
yeah.
14 during diagnosis. Back in 1982?
Yep, 82, and I was 56 now, so that's about 42 years, yeah.
1982. Wow, Jerri. I was born 1983. Yeah.
While you born, I was developing diabetes.
Right. So you were born in the era where they were still using beef and pork insulin for a while, and then they went into human insulin or regular insulin was started being used in the late 1970s.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people that I know who still were using beef and pork insulin through portions of the 80s.
I remember that insulin back in the day because my mother used it. She was a diabetic. She wasn't type 2. She wasn't type 1. She was type 2. But I remember her talking about that beef and pork insulin that she had to use back when she was, because she had gestational diabetes. She was pregnant with all of us, and she had diabetes through her pregnancy, and she had 5 pregnancies, and she was pregnant 4 times. Well, 5 times, 4 times she had gestational diabetes with it.
Now, do you know if your mother had actually ever got like a C-peptide test or autoantibody test to be sure that her diabetes was type 2 and not type 1, considering the amount of time she had gestational? And you said she had type 2, but she was given insulin. She was always using insulin, correct?
Right, she was using insulin because she was pregnant. She only was diabetic when she was pregnant. And then after she had her kids, probably like maybe 10 years later, she became full-fledged. So normally, if you are gestational diabetic while you're pregnant, it's almost a high percentage that you're going to become a diabetic later on in life. And that happened to her. Because sometimes when you're diabetic, when you're pregnant, you go back to being normal. Mm-hmm. And that's what happened to her. She went back to being normal for about 10 years. And then after 10 years, she became a diabetic. And but back then, it wasn't a big thing for them. For some reason, she took the insulin sometime, and she didn't really check her blood sugar because we didn't have anything to check it with. So she didn't know why she was taking the insulin. They told her to take the insulin. She took it. She probably didn't feel well and didn't take it. So when I was coming up, that's the same way she taught me to do it. I didn't know anything about diabetes at the time. So I didn't really get really educated on diabetes. I had a really good doctor. He did educate me, but back then we didn't have anything to check our blood sugars with. We didn't even have a monitor or anything. They were just giving us insulin blindly.
Right. So, and for the most part, you used insulin based on how you were feeling. It was almost like any other medication. Like, I'm going to take this so I will feel better, so I won't feel bad. Instead of, like, it's a ongoing, never-ending thing that must be done.
Right. Yeah. So, the education on it got better probably in, probably when I turned about 21. So from 14 to about 21 is when I got a monitor. And I had a really, really good endocrinologist who he educated us a lot. He would keep us in the hospital for like a whole month, just educating us on diabetes and how to take care of ourselves and how to take care of our feet and how to eat when we go out. He would take us out to eat. I mean, he was a diabetic himself. He had been a diabetic himself since he was 2 years old.
And so he built that community with you and your mom and.
He had a whole. Oh,
he had a whole slew of patients.
Yeah. I was living in Tennessee at the time, and he had people coming from all over the United States to come see him because he was the only doctor. He was the only doctor then that was actually educating people on how to really take care of themselves. And then he was the only one was telling people they need to get on insulin pump. He just recently died himself, and he died in his 80s. So therefore, he lived a full life.
Do you remember his name, or what's that doctor's name?
His name was Robert. His name was Robert Creech.
Say that again. The last name.
His name was Robert. It was Robert Creech.
Creech.
Yeah, Creech. I think it's Robe. Creech. I think it was Creech. I think it was.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to Google him, because for you to say that he was doing those things back then tells me that he's someone that people may have even written about, maybe in someone's memoir, someone's obituary, something like.
He was out of Tennessee, but then he left and then went to Alabama. When I looked him up last, it was probably maybe about 3 or 4 years ago. He was living in Alabama at the time. He had a clinic there, and somebody said on the website that he had a heart attack. And once he had a heart attack, he came back to work. He came back to work after the heart attack. But then after that, he just wasn't the same after that. And then he died. But he stayed in it, though. He stayed in it all the time. And he helped a lot of people. He helped a lot of people to get their diabetes under control. I think if it wasn't for him, a lot of things I know now I wouldn't have known. But I learned a lot from this other doctor, too. I think I told you about him. And you said you knew him, Richard K. Bernstein.
Dr. Bernstein. Yeah, he's very familiar and popular in the diabetes space. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, because when I went through menopause,
the Bernstein diet.
Yeah, when I went through menopause, my diabetes just went crazy. I could not keep my blood sugar under control. I would wake up in the middle of the night around 10, 11 o'clock, and my blood sugar would be 300. And I was like, what is going on? I couldn't get my blood sugar under control for no reason, for nothing.
That's something that we don't hear about often in this space. We hear about the hormones and the fluctuations and how they change, whether they're growing hormones or hormones from like even adolescent girls starting their menstrual cycle, women as they age with the menstrual cycle, and also with pregnancies. You hear about it, but not all. I have never heard someone actually speak about it in a sense of going through menopause.
Menopause changed my diabetes. I mean, it changed it so much. I was like, I was doing that's when I didn't know Dr. Bernstein at that time, because at that time my blood sugars were under control, so I didn't have a reason to be trying to do any research because my blood sugars was under control. But something happened when I went through menopause, and my blood sugar, it went crazy. And I kept saying to myself, if I don't get this blood sugar under control, it's going to kill me. So one day I was just searching on YouTube, just searching, trying to figure out, somebody got the answer what's going on. And I came up on his video probably on a Friday night, maybe at 9 o'clock. And I watched one of his videos. And from that point on, I didn't even sleep that night. I stayed up all night long. I was up all night watching all his videos. He kept talking about getting his book, get his book. I bought the book. I bought it on audio. I read that book. I live in Atlanta, so it takes us an hour to get everywhere. When I was going to work back and forth, I was listening to that book and and he gave me so much information. And I was like, because at the time I didn't realize that you could take long-acting insulin in the middle of the day. I was only known that I could take it at nighttime. Nobody never said, well, if you need to take it in the middle of the day, you need to take it in the middle of the day. The name of the game is to keep your blood sugar under control under any means necessary. So when he was saying it like that, I said, okay, well, I need to do some new tricks then, because that's what I started doing. I started taking my long-acting insulin in the middle of the day, and I would take it at nighttime. And when I did that, it started keeping my blood sugar under control. And I started, and then I started eating way different. Everything was low carb at that point. I went cold turkey. When I went cold turkey, my A1C went down to 4.2. So if you look at my chart, my A1C chart, when I first found out how to do it, my A1C was probably like in the 60s. It was like probably 6.7 or 6.5. But when I found out, it went from 6.7 straight. The arrows went straight down. My doctor was like, "What did you do to get your blood sugars this low?"
Are you a person living with type 1 diabetes? If you answered yes, then I need for you to do me a big favor that will benefit the future for T1Ds moving forward. Join the T1D registry today so that your voice as a person living with T1D matters. Sharing your T1D experience can help to bring your insights into the development of new products and treatments. Once enrolled, you will be notified about other T1D research opportunities like surveys, focus groups, and clinical trials. Participation in research should reflect the diversity of all people living with type 1 diabetes. Why wait? Join the T1D Exchange registry today via my link, t1dexchange.org/will, that's WILL, dash streets, STREETS. That's t1dexchange.org/will dash streets.
I got it under control. I went on a low carb diet. I had to go on a low carb diet because if I didn't go on a low carb diet, I probably wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't have been here today to talk about it because that's been about, well, I would say about 7 years ago.
So with your you said your blood sugar, your glucose, your A1C went down to about like the 4.2.
Yes.
Say that again. And
it took about 2 months. When I went to go get my A1C checked again, then I went and bought my own A1C machine. I went and bought my own. I went to this place, a pharmacy where they sold A1C machines, and I started keeping up with my own A1C.
Right, you're being proactive instead of reactive.
Yeah. Yes, I need to figure out how I can get this under control. So when I started, after I did it for like a month, and then I said, let me check it myself before I go to the doctor. So I checked mine, and then I checked it against the doctors. Mine was always a little bit more elevated than theirs. Theirs was like the 4.2s. Mine was like 4.4, something like that. But I went there, when they took it, it'd be like 4.2. And he kept asking me, what did you do to get your A1C down? I told him I quit listening to you.
Right. You took over your care and your management. Because when I see 4.2, I'm like, I mean, most people be like, "How are you diabetic?" But when I see it, the first thing, what everyone thinks: how many severe hypos have you had over the years? But I know that with my A1C being at the lower end, I'm able to control those incidences of hypos or low blood sugars like quicker, more rapidly, and my body like understands them more today than they did previously. So do you like with being at a 4.2? What's that about? 84?
Yeah, that's normal range.
So with that, when do you notice like lows?
Well, I've always been able to feel low before I get there. I've always been. I can feel the low before it even get there. I start feeling a little bit disoriented, just a little bit. As soon as I feel that, I know what time it is, and that's a good thing. For a lot of diabetics, some diabetics can't feel it before it comes.
I've never been able to. I've always been hypoglycemic unaware since day one.
So if your blood sugar goes low, you don't know it.
Not until it's severe.
Wow. So how low? What's the number before you get to it?
40s.
Yeah, I can feel mine. I don't feel mine really till it get about 57, 50, 55, 54. I can feel it then. So that's kind of low, but you know that they have a program out there. If you can't feel your blood sugars getting low, that they would give you a transplant. You know that?
So that's if you have those episodes like more often. So I don't have them as often. So like
have you looked into that already?
Yeah. So I'm always in range. Like I'm always like 94+%.
Yeah, they don't want to help you. If you're a good diabetic, they don't want to help you. They only want to help people who, I guess, who don't really want to. To me, diabetes, everybody diabetes to me is, I wouldn't say it's different. I would say that it's, if you change the way you eat, you can control the diabetes. But you got to change the way you eat. Because I have friends who are type 1 diabetic. They just won't change the way they eat.
Right, and a lot of that is the education on onset, and as you grow, a lot of people just. I was on a call with someone earlier, and a lot of people, they do feel as though, like when they're first taught about diabetes, it's similar to like just being taught about any other medicine. So they just really just use it as like just a tool, not knowing that it truly overtakes the entire body, mind, everything you do physically and emotionally. So a lot of people are like, well, since I'm not having complications or whatnot,
right?
Because there are many people that have been around for 70, 80 years living with type 1 diabetes, and they have minimal complications. So.
Right. Well, the thing about it also is my endocrinologist that I have now, the only thing they tell you is take your medication, eat what you want to. They've never told me that you can.
No education. No education.
They give you the medication and send you on your way. And go talk to they give you a dietitian. The dietitian don't know what she's talking about. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I can't. So when I talk to them, I'm like, you know what? Y'all are not helping people. Y'all are hurting people.
Right, because for the most part, they treat everyone as though they're the same diabetes, because they're just following a script, really. It's just a script that they learned within, like,
their 88.
Yeah, something that they learned in their first or their only 10 hours of training in diabetes care and all the years of education that they've received. So it's something that they truly don't remember. So they just keep that one pager out and they check off every box. So if you're under 80, if your glucose levels are under 80 milligrams per deciliter, oh, you having lows. Nah.
Right.
No. So, and they.
I have a friend she is an MD. She's a doctor herself. Her daughter became diabetic, and she is a doctor and did not know what to do. She had to call me and ask me, what do I need to be doing as a diabetic to keep my daughter under control? And I gave her that book. I said, you need to get this book. You need to read this book, and this right here is what's going to keep her healthy. So now she's just been a diabetic for 5 years. And because she had that book and I taught her how to eat, I went to her house. I showed her how to cook. I made cauliflower mashed potatoes for her, and I made all kind of tuna fish stuff for her. I just made a whole bunch of food that she can actually eat and cook herself that she enjoy eating, and it won't burn her blood sugar crazy.
Right. And it's similar to what you're doing is similar to like a personal trainer, how they train the body, how to and the muscles and how to build them, and how they are reactive to certain elements and things of that nature. What you're doing is teaching her, you're training her diabetes, or in a care that minimizes the need for access and correction.
But see, because I think the reason why in my younger days I didn't have so many issues, I was a workout fanatic. I used to work out all the time. I didn't work out because I wanted to, I thought it was good for me. I worked out because of vanity. So I used to go to the gym probably 3 days a week, do that step aerobics like they did back in the day, and I used to run and jog and do all kind of walkathons, but I didn't know that it was actually helping me to do that. I did it for years, and I didn't realize that the exercise I was doing was actually keeping me alive.
I mean, everyone's body is different, because I've known 2- and 3-year-old children that use more and need more insulin at being under 40 pounds than a grown adult man like myself, who's close to 6 feet, close to 200 pounds. Like,
right.
And it's like your body, the way your body processes the insulin hormone and the stress factors that your body endures, and the growth and everything is different in each individual. So,
yeah, but as you get older and you don't need that much insulin no more, you don't need that much, your body because as you get older, right now you at a young age, but by the time you get to be about 60 years old, your body's going to change. Your body's going to start processing food differently. So the more insulin you have to take, the bigger you're going to be.
Hey, Jerri, you're not going to get me with that age thing.
Keep living, and I promise you, at some point, everybody, this is everybody. It's just a life cycle. As you go on through life, the life cycle, everything slows down. And
your metabolism, everything.
Everything slows down. And if you still take the amount of insulin you take it now, by the time you're 60 years old, you're gonna be bigger. you're gonna gain more weight. So what you're gonna have to do is like any other person. Just because you're diabetic don't mean you're a different person. You're still the same person. You still gonna be, your body's still gonna react just like if you didn't have diabetes. If you didn't have diabetes and you still ate the way you eat now at 60 years old, like my husband, you're going to start gaining weight. He has the track right now running.
Look, there's nothing wrong with that. I hope everyone wants to be at their best or most optimal health and well-being, whether it's physically or mentally, whatever it is that's going to make you live this long, prosperous, healthy life without the complications that do exist.
I'm talking about at 62, but because his body is making more insulin than he needs, it's the same thing. His body's just giving it to us, and we have to give it to ourselves. When I went through menopause, I started gaining weight. I just started gaining weight crazy. I had got up to like 180 some pounds, and that's how much I weighed when I was pregnant with my kids. So to me, that was a lot of weight to put on. So I had to get on something to help me lose weight. That put me on Wegovy. You know what that is, right?
Right. Yeah, I know what that is.
It's the weight loss medication. Huh? Exactly. But it helped me in two different ways. Number one, it kept my blood sugar under control more than me just taking the insulin. Because I was a type 1 turning into a type 2. My body was getting resistant against the insulin that I was giving it. My body wasn't even using the insulin that it was giving me, that I was giving it. I was having to take more, and the more insulin I was taking, it was crazy. It was getting out of hand. So when they put me on that, I actually lost 37 pounds. Now I'm back down to my normal weight, and now I'm back down to taking my regular insulin. It's all a game. It's all just trying to keep that blood sugar under control.
Right. So they are, I know people, they're looking into being able to subscribe more of these GLP-1 hormones to more type 1 diabetics, because it has been proven or shown that people, even young people, as young as like 16, their ability to use less insulin now that they are on that. And when you consider like people like, I mean, even older people with their metabolism slowing down, and people who may be trying to seek a certain physical appearance or well-being, that things such as that should be available to them, especially if you're living with a chronic health condition such as type 1 diabetes, where we know that it does take more for us to be in our top physical like condition. It does take a lot more. So anything that eases that, to make it easier for you, to help you, like you said, it helped you lose, would you say, 37 pounds?
10 pounds.
So I do believe that a hormone such as that should be available for people that are living with type 1 diabetes, but today it's not. Your doctor, endocrinologist, can only prescribe it to you if they suggest that you have type 2 diabetes or
Wegovy, they don't have to do that. It's the Monjova. Wegovy is actually for weight loss. That's what it's prescribed. It's actually for weight loss. So that's why my endo gave it to me. My endocrinologist, she's great. I love my endocrinologist. The one I have now, she just does anything I ask her. within reason, she would help me out with it. So she gave me that to help me lose some weight. I said, you know what? So when she gave it to me, I noticed that it helped me with my blood sugar as well. I said, wow, this is helping me get my blood sugar down as well. So it did two things. It helped me with my blood sugar, and it helped me lose the weight. So therefore now I'm back down to using my regular insulin that I was using before. Before I was having to take I'm on an insulin pump, so I was having to take more insulin to keep it under control. Now I don't have to. It's back at normal rate. But I mean, it's a little bit elevated now because I had this frozen shoulder, and he gave me a steroid shot. So of course that steroid shot is keeping my blood sugar a little bit more elevated. But I'm just going back down to my low carb diet, so I'm just not eating a whole lot of food, or not a whole lot of food, but a whole lot of food is lower in carbs, so it keep my blood sugar under control. So it's all a balance. It's just all a balance. You have to really be in tune with your body and making sure that your blood sugars are in. And 42 years, a long time, so it's kind of second nature to me to do it this way now. So that's my whole goal always is to keep my blood sugars under control under any means necessary. Even when I was gaining all that weight, I still had to take more insulin. I just had to take more insulin because I had to keep my blood sugars under control. I have a sister who is not a type 1. She's a type 2. And I told her for years, she used to come to my house, her blood sugar would be 300 all the time. I said, you need to be on insulin.
Has she been tested? Have they done C-peptide or autoantibody testing to see if she's truly type 2?
When she came to my house, I put her on insulin. I made her take the insulin to bring her blood sugar down. She kept going to her doctor, and her doctor kept giving her pills. She didn't need pills anymore. Pills wasn't working for her anymore. But they wouldn't give her the insulin.
Right. I know people who were misdiagnosed for upwards of 8 to 10 years on metformin and things. So I would suggest you can get free autoantibody testing through trialnet.org, and especially since she has a direct relative, meaning her sister, who has type 1 diabetes, and that will help out a lot if she's able to get a formal diagnosis, not just based off what the white coat told her. So if she was able to get that, they can send a kit to your house, and all you do is prick your finger, insert the blood into the tube, send it back, and they'll actually call you and let you know what autoantibodies you may have, if you have any of the autoantibodies that are linked to type 1 diabetes. So if she has any of those, if any of those pop up, then it will be stated that she has type 1. But
she's already blind.
Yep. When it comes to us, people of color, it's very rare. Well, I'm not going to say rare. It's seldom that they give us that diagnosis as type 1, especially if you're an adult. But we know that type 1 diabetics can be diagnosed at any age.
Yeah. She's already blind now. She's already on dialysis. So, and she hasn't even been diabetic near as long as I have. She only been diabetic for 10, and I've been diabetic for 42 years. And I told her back when she was having problems, I said, you need to get this checked out. You cannot, but she didn't listen. She did not listen. So today she's on dialysis. She is blind. She's 62 years old. But, I saw everything that could happen to a diabetic happened to my mother. My mother was 2 when she passed away. She was young, 52 years old. She was blind. She was on dialysis. She was blind. She was on dialysis, and they cut all her limbs, her fingers, her legs. She was cut up before she passed away, and that probably was a sacrifice from God. Because when I saw that happening to her, and my mother died when I was 21, that's when I got myself together. I said, you know what? This ain't no joke. This stuff can kill you. So that's when I started working out more. I got a monitor, and I started really, but they weren't giving us that much insulin. They only gave us 1 vial of insulin for a whole month. You could only get 1 vial for a whole month. And if you lost that insulin, that's $500. Yeah. You can't get any more insulin to the next month. Just imagine, I dropped my insulin one day. Oh, my God.
I remember those days dropping insulin.
You dropped the insulin it's the worst thing ever. Because I worked in a hospital, and the nurses knew I was a diabetic. They would, sometimes when they had patients, they would let them use that vial one time, and they had to throw away the rest of the insulin. So what the nurses did, they would give me the insulin. They would give me the remaining, what they had on them vials. They would put it in the brown paper bag, and when I came up on the floor, they would give me the insulin.
Right, because we know, like in the hospitals, when they do get the insulin out, they have to always use a new sterile syringe, so it was safe.
They would have to throw the whole insulin vial. Once they used it, once they broke the seal, they couldn't reuse it. Back then, this was back in probably 1999. My son was born, because I was pregnant at the time with my son, and I needed more insulin than they was giving me. So the nurses gave me all the insulin. After they used it, they would put it in a brown paper bag. And when I came to the floor, they would give me the bag, and I would use all that insulin. And when I was pregnant, I needed way more insulin than I was getting from the doctor. They wouldn't give me but one vial, but I needed way more than that.
Yeah, I was considering, like I said, that your mom had diabetes, and I mean, she passed at 52. She was diagnosed, I would still say, relatively young, considering she died young. You were diagnosed, what was that, at 16?
14.
At 14, and then your sister also. So I do strongly suggest, and I'm going to send you the link to trialnet.org. I'll send it to you so that you'll have, and you'll be able to share it with your sister, because if 3 women in your family direct has diabetes, and just by the way you speak about it and things, like, they both needed insulin on onset. You needed insulin on onset. Like, I have strong belief that they may have type 1 diabetes, and because of the issues that they've endured, your mom passing early, your sister.
It's the negligence of the healthcare system. That's what it was.
Right. So I even have it circled here. Malpractice is real, especially when it deals with people of color. They give us the minimum to no information and expect us to just grab the ball and just run with it. We're all not Emmett Smith and Barry Sanders. Like, no, we cannot just dart through life and then wait until we've reached the blockage, which is complications, to try and go back and fix things or remedy things, because I mean that becomes near impossible for someone who's already managing a chronic health condition.
Right. Yeah. So I didn't escape all the complications, because I had cataracts on my eye. And I had the frozen shoulders, and I've had 3 stents put in my heart. So, I mean, I know back in the day, because I didn't have enough insulin, and I didn't have the proper education that I needed to have as far as being a type 1 diabetic. And I exercised a lot, so I was kind of upset when I got them stents, because I feel like I did all this exercise and all this working out, and I'm still having heart disease. So I realized then, it's something else. It's something else that, so, it is the negligence. And it was because nobody couldn't get it. You couldn't get the education. And today it's the same way. Nothing's really changed. So why I know now, because I did my own research, and I went to work in a hospital, because most diabetics, type 1, don't work in a hospital. I was fishing for information, trying to figure out, how can I get this under control? What is it? If I wasn't being serious about it, and like a lot of type 1s, they take the medication and they move on about their business. They don't think nothing else about it. They eat whatever they want to eat. They just take the medication.
I love the fact that you just said what a lot of people need to hear. And even if you decide one day, like people decide, and they have this epiphany, like, I'm going to be my best well-being. I'm going to become this fitness guru, eat the most healthy. A lot of people don't consider what occurred 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years before. You can't erase that. It comes with you. Just like when we talk about our mental health and well-being, you can't just erase what happened to you in the past and think that you're going to be well today. Health is health. Mental, physical, 50-50 breakdown to come together to be able to take on and over the world. So, yeah, I truly appreciate you for stating that because it just needs to be heard. Everyone needs to take care of themselves today. If you have the means, the opportunity, even if you just see things via like social media, you can get up out your seat and move around. Like you can learn different ways of eating, different ways of relieving stress, because stress is a big thing in managing diabetes. We know when our stress levels, anxiety raises, our blood sugar raises, like even more so than food. Like like we know those things. So yeah, you just gave them that gem, because a lot of people, they really just be like, well, I'm going to do whatever I want to do right now, and
worry about it.
Yep, worry about it when it comes, or I promise I'm gonna start this new regimen and get this taken care of. I know that there's a lot of things that are thrown in our way as far as family, life, whether your career or your things happening to your significant others or family members or whoever. Like there's so many different things that can be thrown at you, but also you got to remember that without your health and your well-being, then you can't do those tentacles that you got stretching out to everything else won't be able to reach. They literally will not be able to reach if you don't take care of your health.
Right, because I mean, a lot of the young people just don't understand, especially type 1s. They don't understand what they do now is going to affect them later. Because if I had known today, if I had known back then what I know today, my life probably would have been different. I probably wouldn't have had different stints. But I didn't know. I didn't know any better. Besides, I didn't even have enough insulin to take care of myself back then. They was only giving one vial out. They was only giving you one vial of insulin. So since you only get one vial, if you drop or lose that vial of insulin, you ain't going to no insulin. I mean, I used to go days without insulin. Days and days and days with no insulin because I ran out. I would run out of insulin.
It's hard to believe for people today that we went without for days and we weren't at our best at all. But it's hard for them to believe because you know how much people panic today. When you should, when you don't have insulin, you should panic.
Right.
But they've already told me about these other things also. Like when I was given a prescription bottle for whatever ailment I had, they said you have to finish all these pills. How often do we finish all those pills? We don't always finish them all.
We don't, but when it comes to insulin, though, insulin to me is like air.
Right.
You got to have it. I realize now I realized back then how important it was, but I could only take insulin. Maybe I would take it in the morning time, and I would take it in before I would eat dinner. I couldn't take it in the middle of the day because I didn't have enough. I had to see when can I take it. I had to decide what I was going to eat in order to keep my blood sugar under control with the insulin that I had. Right. It was crazy.
I remember rationing insulin, and it's crazy when I think about it today. Like I really did that, not knowing how I was putting my life at risk, but at the same time, like I didn't know that I could go to an emergency room and get insulin.
I've never gotten no insulin from emergency
room. I haven't either. So I have used every program available, which people need to know. Like all of your insulin manufacturers have programs that are available where if you meet a certain financial standard, like if you're under that threshold.
There must be something new. Is that something new? Because I've had patients that come to my hospital and they don't have any insurance. They don't have any insulin. I mean, it's just bad out there.
I'll make sure that I link that in this episode when it is released, and I'll send you the information because, like I know, like even like Nova Nordisk, they have a Nova Care program where, and it's like if you make under, I want to say like 75,000 or something per year, and this is as like an individual, where you can get insulin for free for an entire year. Like they'll give you like 4 months supplies and they'll ship them to your endocrinologist. And all you have to do is pick them up from your endocrinologist. Yeah, so they have it. Lily
program.
Yeah, Eli Lilly has it with a program called Lilly Cares. You can even like Basil Gore Lance's. There's a program with Sanofi patient assistance program. Yeah, like everyone has it. So I do when people reach out to me for resources because I make sure I let them know that I'm not letting no diabetic go without on my watch. When they reach out to me, I link them to all these different areas, like even like insulin pumps. Like Medtronic has an insulin pump patient assistant program. Omnipod has a financial assistant program. Many different places have programs that are for people. So it's just that you have to know that these programs exist so that you can use them.
Do you know her?
Yeah, I know her.
She's
you told so you didn't. I'm not sure if you told me that. No, I know what it was. I saw a post of hers with you in it, and you've been helping her. And I said, "That's Jerri." I saw that post after, like, I got you to be on here. But yeah. So she's been diagnosed for 5 years now, 6 years, 5.
Yeah, 5
so
years.
When she first got diagnosed, I remember like she came on Instagram and stuff, like looking for diabetic like friends, like and stuff. And she was one of the first people that I became friends with via Instagram. Yeah, before the whole.
I met her on Instagram because she was complaining about insulin.
Mm-hmm.
She was just didn't have a lot of insulin, but she was pregnant at the time. So I saw her through what's that guy who plays football? What's his name? The ones over. He's in Colorado somewhere. What's his name? He's football. He's the coach over there now. His daughter has diabetes. Sanders.
Deion Sanders. Yeah. Okay, yeah, his daughter, Shalimar.
On Instagram.
Yeah, Shalimar.
Sanders' daughter follows on Instagram.
Okay.
And I was looking at his daughter's Instagram, and some kind of way it linked up, and I got on, and Kitty was complaining about she didn't have any. She was complaining about she was having this pump, and she was losing a lot of insulin. And she was saying, she's like, honey, she's pregnant, honey, she don't need a lot of insulin.
Right.
I reached out to her and told her, I said, if you need insulin, I have insulin falling out of my refrigerator, I will donate it to you. So we got together, and I donated like 12 bottles of insulin. I got a bunch of insulin. So I just gave her a bunch of insulin. She's still using that insulin today. And she had the baby. The baby's 6 months old now, and she's doing good. She's doing good. We hang out all the time now. She's like my little sister now. She's young enough to be my child, you know.
Right.
So I done been around the baby, and you know, she's great. She's a good person. Yeah. So we really became really good friends. She lives in Georgia. We live in Georgia. And when I found she lived in Georgia, I'm like, hey, I just meet you. So I made her meet her. I made her meet me in my hospital because I didn't know her. She didn't know me. You know, crazy people on Instagram. So I said, you know what? We'll meet in a central area, not at nobody's house, in a central area. Police there. So when she got there, we got to talking to each other. We sat there and talked to each other for about 4 hours. We say and talk to each other.
Look, that's how this stuff is. Like when you're having a conversation, the real conversations that need to be had.